the worst fantasy football show ever. And not quite possibly, quite honestly, it's got to be one of the worst television shows ever. I'm joined on the line by uh, the man from Argentina, Ryan. We're going to skip the previous conversation that we had on live television. Um, I was trying to be funny, but I don't think it would really feel all that funny now if I started it again. So it wasn't funny to begin with, honestly. So
It made me laugh, and that's all that matters.
So yeah. Anyway, the part of the show that we did discuss live on television a minute ago, but I'd forgotten to record, and then we started over, was the fact that we haven't had a show in about 3 weeks. We're headed into week 8. And the last time we were on the air was headed into week 5. So you're welcome, but we're back. And I don't know. Anything else you want to say to people that are wondering where we were?
I got several tweets and emails wondering what was going on, and due to my anesthesia and pain medicine and things like that, I couldn't go on with responding back, and I hope that you took care of all that.
I did, actually. Most of the ones that I received were thank yous. I got a few presents in the mail that were like, really appreciate you not being on the air. If there's any way that you could extend this, that'd be great. Thank you for not continuing to make the show. And so to those people, I do apologize that we are back. But, you and I, honestly, we have not talked on the phone, I don't think, in more than a week or something like that. And so, this is all we're doing. We're just having a phone conversation about our teams, and there just happens to be microphones and a camera and a telephone connection to the audio board and a bunch of stupid graphics that I make in Photoshop included. So, anyway, we're back. Over the last 3 weeks, we usually talk about some top performers, and so I'm going to encapsulate the last 3 weeks on that instead of just last week. So we'll just dive in. I actually haven't eaten today. I ate 6 small pieces of fun-sized candy out of the candy jar at work. That's all I've had, so I'm kind of headed towards dinner eventually.
I've been working on my dinner since I got off work.
And it's flowing like gold, liquid gold over your lips, I presume.
Something like that, yes.
Excellent. It's not Monster and Jameson, is it?
It would not be. That'll be coming Sunday.
Which you will be attending, I assume?
I will be.
And that's San Diego?
No, that's Oakland.
Oakland. Oh, so Bishlo and you are going together.
That's right.
Or is it the both couples?
It's actually both couples and my little brother and his girlfriend.
Oh, your little brother, huh? Well, you better tell him I said hi. I'm sure
he'll have his diaper ready.
So, all right. So, top quarterbacks over the last 3 weeks are Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. That's starting to settle out a little bit. Josh Freeman, Robert Jr., Bobby Jr., Brandon Weeden, Peyton Manning, and Eli Manning. Andrew Luck, and then Sam Bradford are the top 10. So.
Yeah, my comment with that is, at the beginning of the year, we did talk about that, things have been a little crazy, but, Drew Brees has stayed steady in there, probably the most consistent out of all of them, of the big names, and Aaron Rodgers has returned.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that those 3 guys finally made it up to the top was expected. It just took longer, I think, than what we had expected. All right, so running backs. A little different than the quarterback situation. We're looking at Ahmad Bradshaw, Arian Foster, Sean Green, and again, I should point out that this is just the last 3 weeks, not like up to date or anything like that. So I had forgotten about that for a second. So Bradshaw, Foster, Green, which is unbelievable. That game he had was unbelievable. AP, Frank Gore, Chris Johnson, Ray Rice, Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller, and Ryan Matthews. Notables, McCoy is at 13. Matt Forte at 19. I guess they had a bye in there probably.
I was going to say some of those guys had buys.
Yeah, so it's definitely misleading on some level, but we're just trying to catch up to what we've been missing, essentially.
It kind of surprised me that you said Ryan Matthews in that, since he would have had a buy in there too, and he was actually made that list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he's made any list, actually.
Yep.
Wide receivers, no. What did I do here? Wide receivers. Victor Cruz, Wes Welker, Jordy Nelson, Percy Harvin, Randall Cobb, Reggie Wayne, Colston, A.J. Green, Vincent Jackson, Josh Gordon, top 10.
Josh Gordon is the name that doesn't belong.
That's true. He had a super game, right? He just had one game.
He's been hot lately.
And then
But Calvin, I don't think you said him in that he would be the one that doesn't.
Calvin,
Yes.
he is not even in the top 20.
Yep.
And, you know, he's still making catches and some yards, but he's definitely not scoring touchdowns. Tight ends. Yeah, we've got Gronk, number 1 over the last 3 weeks. Owen Daniels, Tony Gonzalez, Heath Miller, Kyle Rudolph, Antonio Gates, Jermaine Gresham, Jared Cook, Aaron Hernandez. This is weird. Is this even right?
I don't know. You made it.
I know. I'm questioning myself. How in the world could Aaron Hernandez be a top 10 tight end over the last 3 weeks? Now I'm questioning what I've done here.
He's played 2 of them.
Hey, has he played 2?
Yeah, and
Okay.
he scored a touchdown on 1.
Okay. Good enough.
There's been
then.
some pretty poor tight end performances.
You're right. Kyle Rudolph is kind of shocking that he was number 5 too, because
Yeah,
he laid an egg, didn't he? One week.
Yeah, last week.
And
this week, just Thursday, it was terrible too.
yeah. Now Owen Daniels, that makes sense. Tony Gonzalez, Heath Miller, Rob Gronkowski, all those are right. You know. Yeah.
Speaking of Rudolph, since he is on my my dynasty team here or whatever, he is completely touchdown dependent.
Yes, because that's where he was making his points, right?
Yeah. If he scores a touchdown, he's good. If he doesn't, he's nothing.
Yeah. And he's huge in the red zone, but not so much as like just a target.
He's the old Mercedes Lewis.
Yes, that's good. I like that. All right. So moving on to Dynasty League. What we've got here is the standings. Gronk's in first place, and in second place, for Argentina Fighting Irish at 6-2. So did you go 0-2 to start the season?
No.
Okay.
I think it's like 2-2.
2-2. Okay, but you've been on quite a run. Whereas I started out 3-0, I think, and then went 0 for 3, and then finally won one this week. Yeah. Bobby's up there tied with you, and then Tough Acton, and well, that's weird. 5-2 for him. 6-2. Must say 6-2. It's just squeezed. Deer Slayers, worst name in the league, but man, they maintain their spot up there in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your roster. No, I have power rankings also. I wanted to give you a little bit of props on this too. I'm showing the power rankings from the Dynasty League, which you're firmly in first place for, and you've scored more points than anybody else in the league. What do you think about that?
I dominate. All I can say. And my bench points are the highest too.
That's
and I don't know if I'll be honest. I don't know what this power ranking thing really means, or how they figure it.
I do think that it has something to do with a balance between you actually starting the people that will give you points and not leaving dead points on your bench.
Well, I think that's the efficiency, and in the
Right.
efficiency, it looks like I'm one of the lowest.
Well, that's true. That is true.
So I'll be honest. I don't get it at all, other than the fact that it looks like I could have won all my games,
Right.
where maybe not everybody else could have.
I liked it because it was just another way of looking at you at the top, and it was like, cool. You're above Gronks in that regard. So your first.
In most regards.
Oh, so I guess I put myself first here. So my week 8 matchup is against Tough Acton Tenacton, which I'm very curious about actually. He is currently starting Ronnie Brown and John Kuhn in his running back spots. That's who he has going. And when I looked at his lineup, so his roster also includes Cedric Benson, Rashard Mendenhall, Marcel Reese, James Starks, Beanie Wells, D'Angelo Williams, and Ryan Williams. So,
Yeah, he has absolutely terrible running backs
I
as
mean,
far as injuries and.
Yeah, but I'd start D'Angelo Williams probably, right? And possibly Rashard Mendenhall?
Well, Mendenhall's not going to play.
Not at all?
I think he's out. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Now Kuhn, I'll be honest. If he scores a touchdown, that's his goal there. Ronnie Brown, I don't understand at all. I'd play D'Angelo Williams over Ronnie Brown.
Gotcha.
And there has to be somebody else out there, even on this type of situation where there's a running back that.
Yeah.
And maybe it was Marcel Reese who he picked up this week.
Yeah, I would start him probably. I mean, I think John Kuhn, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance he doesn't even touch the ball. And Ronnie Brown too.
Right.
I mean, who's the other guy? Jackie Battle, and the other guy. Anyway, yeah, I don't know.
Ryan Matthews.
Oh well, I meant behind them. I thought there was another guy that was seeing Curtis Brinkley, but I guess he's not really seeing time either.
Yeah. No, I hope you
But
continue to, or I hope you do win this one.
yeah, well, I mean, now in his defense, I mean, he is starting Heath Miller, Tony Gonzalez, and Vernon Davis. At tight end, and Santana Moss, which isn't scary, but Brandon Marshall and Larry Fitzgerald. So, that's good stuff for sure, potentially.
Oh, yeah. His receivers are a strong part of his team.
But,
And
wow,
tight end.
I would hate that situation if I was him.
If I was him, I'd be trading something.
Yeah. My big decision this week was, I've got Luck and Forte for sure going. Malcolm Floyd, Hakeem Nicks. I'll probably start Andre Roberts just because why not? Martellus Bennett's the only tight end I start because Gresham is on bye. But then I get down into the Brandon LaFell, Greg Little, Philip Tanner debate. And I haven't decided if I can start Tanner or not. But I'm thinking about it, and I think I'll have more information before that game starts, hopefully.
I think Tanner's a good start this week.
Would you start him over LaFell or Little?
I would start him over LaFell because they've got a terrible matchup.
You're right.
With Chicago.
I'd prefer to throw against the Chargers than the Bears, for sure.
I have bashed Greg Little a little bit in the past on this show, and I actually think that with the emergence of Josh Gordon, Greg Little becomes a little interesting.
He has caught the last 9
No pun there.
targets. The last 9 passes that have been thrown to me, he's caught them. He has not dropped them.
And that's just playing catch. That's not even during a game, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's not even during practice. It's from his daughter.
Awesome.
So, yeah. All right, so we'll see how that goes. I feel like I'm not dead in the water on that one at least, and I've got a shot. So, moving on to your matchup against Quitters Never Win, which is still my favorite name of the league based on all the history.
Which I don't think we ever really discussed.
I don't think we did.
But just kind of a little quick is a guy got mad about a points change thing with defense, and maybe he had a right to be mad because it did affect the outcome of one of his games, but it was really made in the spirit of what the league was supposed to have been set up as. So he got mad and he quit. And this guy came in. Quitters never win.
Yeah. It was brilliant. He's in another league with us, and he takes some ribbing about that from time to time. So yeah. So your matchup against this guy, who, by the way, I think has done a pretty decent job considering.
Yeah, he inherited a team that wasn't even his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing
that being said, you do appear to have some sort of a clear-cut advantage over him. Although we never know how this stuff plays out. But I like your team better, just eyeball test for sure. Selleck and Tammy as the starting, tight ends do not instill fear into anyone. Felix Jones as well. So, you feel good about this, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel okay about it. I never feel great about any of it until it's actually done. I don't care if they're behind by 50 points. But, I had Kyle Rudolph starting. I was trying to decide between him and maybe somebody like Jeremy Curley or Josh Gordon, and I went with Rudolph, and he didn't really do much for me last night, so I'm kind of starting off a little disadvantage there. But
3 points. Now, this is not a generous point league, but 3 points, it looks like.
Yeah, so he'll have a little advantage there potentially, but that's one guy. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it before where, I put up big numbers in the other league, but it doesn't mean anything until everybody else plays. So, let's see here. Oh yeah, I've got something up here on the screen right now. I'm gonna let people soak it in while I tell a story. There's a lot of situations, particularly in the Dynasty League, but also I think in Bad Boys League as well, where we watch waiver wire pickups weekly. And we text and we call each other. We comment on people dropping $80 on Felix Jones or $50 on Engelbert Humperdinck. And we just don't understand why these people would even, what's the line of thinking on dropping $80 on a guy who's a backup running back who's going to get to play for a week or two and is injury prone anyway. Well, tonight, live on this show, we get to go in depth with one of these wacko dudes who just runs out there willy-nilly and drops $52 on a, subpar defense. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
All right.
So talk to me. I looked them up, by the way, before we go any further. I did look them up, and they were ranked 12th overall, maybe over the last few weeks or over the season or something, and I was surprised by that. But I'd love to hear about your $52 purchase of the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
And in the end, you're going to think it's a bargain.
Oh, all right. That's awesome.
All right. So in this league, defenses are not available. In fact, there's only two that are left out there. I think it's Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Is that right? There's only 2 left completely?
Been terrible.
Okay.
There are 2 teams which, while they are not doing well so far, that have better, I think they're better managers overall, even though they haven't proven that by their record, and the Reaper Crew and the Juggernauts. They completely ignored defenses for the most part, and are having to start the likes of the Indianapolis Colts and the Cleveland Browns and things like that week to week. So part of it was just a defensive move to remove somebody who I feel could be potential to have a threat later down the road. Part of it is with the what they had left on their money, I had to bid higher than $50, which one of them had $50.
Okay.
So very strategically picked 52 or 53, because you never pick I just don't ever pick a straight 50 or anything like that.
Well, you went for Ray Lewis, is what you did.
Apparently, yeah. And maybe that was in the back of my mind. And if you look, Kansas City has, if you can predict these types of things, one of the best defensive matchups for the playoffs. And so this was a playoff strategy move. So with that said, and in this league where you might spend $50 on a nobody, I think $52 is a bargain.
Wow. Well, that is a very eloquent explanation to this. And, we should point out, too, that the starting money, the starting dollar amount that we are given is $150, not $100 like a lot of leagues are. So it's not like you gave away more than half of your money right there.
Right. And it's actually somebody I might play a couple weeks.
Okay.
Maybe not. And for the money that if I spent $50 on Roy Halou or some other baloney,
Yep.
I might not even play him. I figured, hey, why not?
Yeah. All
So
right.
in the end, bargain or no bargain? To be seen, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to levy judgment. Who knows, right? But you must appreciate my shock when I saw that at first.
of course. And I had a feeling you were going to ask me about it since you hadn't asked me about it at all
Right.
throughout the week.
It was one of the reasons I was glad to not have talked to you this week, so that we could just do it right now here.
Yeah.
Because that's great, absolutely. Because we completely chastise guys for spending that kind of money on something, and so. But yeah, hey, maybe we should start having those other people on to explain themselves as well. That's
Maybe
great.
you in your miserly ways can spend some money.
Hey, in an unrelated story, I picked up Greg Little this week in a redraft league.
Yep.
So, which moving now. Okay, well, I accept that completely. Thanks for humoring me with your mentality on that. Bad Boys. Looks like you've gotten knocked down a notch or two in the recent weeks.
Yeah, I'm on I guess I lost probably twice since we last talked.
Okay, so
1-1
probably
lost
2 out
two.
of 3, basically, but not in a row. You're right up there though, because first place 6-0-1, second place 5-2, and then third through your position 6th is all 4-3. Now we don't show point totals here. Obviously, you have the lowest one of those people, but I think it's all fairly close in general.
Yeah, pretty much the whole league's jumbled.
Yeah. I mean, the guy in third place has a total of 16-17, and you have 1440, so it's less than 200 points, and that can be made up for sure. There's some guy named Touchdown Brown down in 11th place, 2-5. That was a tough loss for me this week, honestly.
Yeah, I thought you were going to pull that one out.
I really did too. Anyway, yeah, that was a bummer. I went to bed thinking that I had.
Wasn't it by just like 1 or 2?
It was by 1 point. It was 175 to 174. And it was Calvin Johnson, honestly, with 9 points on the night that sunk me. So, I guess it should have been a lot worse, maybe. That said, let's see here. So, Fargentina Rhinos, full roster. Nothing's changed really.
Biggest thing for me was I lost Fred Davis for the year.
Oh, and
starting tight end.
And that was the second thing that I wanted to jump you about. You're starting Dallas Clark.
And it worked. Worked in relative terms. I mean, it's not what
he did better
spectacular.
than Kyle Rudolph, right?
That's right. And was actually Kyle Rudolph was somebody I looked at trading for, and could have traded Mikael LaShore straight up for Kyle Rudolph, and
Right.
I chose not to.
You sent me a trade to get a tight end on your bye week, and send me your bye week tight end.
Yeah, I
which
knew
would
that
have
wasn't
left
going
me
to go.
with nothing.
That was a pipe dream.
Yeah. Did you also, while we're talking about pipe dreams, did you notice how I left that trade up that you offered me in the other league?
Yeah.
I didn't want to reject it, Jimmy Graham for John Hanson, I believe. Jason Hanson, thank you.
But yes,
Yeah.
that was more about making fun of my brother.
Absolutely. So I didn't ever want that one to go away. Yeah. So then, moving on to your matchup this week, you are up against Steve, who I believe pounded me, but I don't remember stuff, so who knows. He's also 4-3, so it's,
Are you talking about in high school or?
Well, we used to do it a lot, but that was not in high school. And that's not football, so let's not talk about it. Yeah. So I think he took me down earlier in the season. But you're both 4-3, so every game is important, every win is important. But this obviously has much more of an impact on that group of you, as far as the standings.
Oh yeah, it's huge for me.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Dallas Clark scored 11 points, which he was projected for 11 points. So you can live with that, absolutely.
And he was one of the best of what was available on the tight end waiver wire. I got to go with my man, Jackson 5, Jermaine Gresham, and Michael's little brother, see if he can do it the rest of the year.
Well, and with the exception of last week, this was Clark's biggest week so far.
Yeah.
So, hey, right on. I mean, that's a great call. I thought you were crazy. But you had to do something desperate anyway, and it worked out for you, I think. I like Randall Cobb this week.
Yeah, especially with the news that Jordy Nelson might miss.
Yeah, that's crazy, and even if he was on the field, he's missing anyway, it seems like, except for the one game.
Nelson? He's killed it the last 3 weeks.
The last 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Shady McCoy. Hopefully they're going to change something coming out of their bye.
Yeah, no kidding.
Nix seems to be doing a lot better.
Going against the buzzsaw of the Dallas Cowboys, though. They've been tough against the pass.
And but Sean Lee out. So
yeah, that's where I'm hoping the run game will get going for me and Dynasty for Bradshaw and I guess you and Bad Boys.
And and they'll probably open it up more for Victor Cruz and Martellus Bennett as well as Bradshaw. But if Nix is back and feeling really good, I like him against anybody, honestly.
Yeah.
Sidney Rice. Don't hate him this week, believe it or not. Detroit seems completely done. I'm sure, that's the thing about NFL, though. Love it how somebody gets beat up one week and then they come back and beat the champ the next week or whatever and stuff. So yeah.
I'm a little nervous about the wide receiver matchups with Fitz and Nix.
Yeah.
San Francisco for Fitz, Dallas for Nix. I'm not loving it. No, we'll see.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of Dallas anymore. At all. But
I do definitely have him, I think, on a running back matchup. So he's got Alex Green starting.
Yeah.
And Rashad Jennings. So we'll see.
And Keller for a flex. So let's see. My boys, this is my full roster in Bad Boys has changed. I made a trade and acquired Kendall Wright and Ahmad Bradshaw, or trades, I should say, probably, that involve Kendall Wright and Bradshaw. I also got Hawkins out of that. And I don't remember, I guess I picked up Blunt a few weeks back just to play him during a bye week. I'll probably let go of him pretty soon.
Yeah, he didn't do much last night. Only Tampa Bay guy who didn't.
Yeah, and that showed a lot. The last couple of weeks, they've been talking a big game about him getting more touches, and it's just not happening. So, in addition to that, I have dropped Vincent Brown since I made this graphic and picked up Greg Little.
Yeah.
Because of the news of Brown being out for another month, potentially.
Yes.
And so it just didn't seem right for me to hang on to him at this point. Doesn't mean I needed to pick up Greg Little, but I did.
Yep. Here's an interesting Sean Lee stat that I'll regurgitate for some before I remember where I heard it. But anyway, with Sean Lee in, Dallas is allowing something like 1 to 2 yards per carry for a running back per play.
Uh-huh.
With Sean Lee out of the lineup, it's like 5.5 yards per carry.
Ooh, love that.
So for Bradshaw, that's good for your fantasy team. That's bad for your real life team.
Yeah, gosh,
Sean Lee is I think an awesome Cowboy, by the way.
I think so too. I mean, they were talking about him being basically the second most talented player on that team, behind DeMarcus Ware.
I definitely think he's been touched in a very special way, but hopefully not by Sandusky.
Was he a Penn State guy?
He is.
Okay. See how quick I am on that stuff? My matchup is against Medlock. I got off to a great start last night. I feel like it could have been better. I felt like Ponder was in a lot of trouble last night.
I think for you to get what you got with as bad as Ponder was,
Yeah,
you should feel lucky.
I do. I absolutely do. 35 points out of Percy Harvin. That was great. I think that was 7 for 90 and a touchdown, if I'm right. Something real close to that. And so, yeah, I'm real pleased about that. I'm looking forward to Andrew Luck at Tennessee. I'm looking forward to Denarius Moore at Kansas City, despite the $52 pickup. I'm looking forward to Forte against Carolina at home, and Bradshaw at Dallas. Witten against the Giants.
Olsen against his old team.
Yeah, I'm at this point I'm sticking with that. What was I thinking? Like I'm pretty sure I'm not going to play Michael Bush over Greg Olsen.
I would not.
And I am now debating about Greg Little. So, there's that. But I think I like Greg Olsen better. I just don't know if Cam's going to be able to throw the ball at all against Chicago. So, because it doesn't seem like Olsen cuts across the middle for those pickups. He seems to catch those ones down the sideline that LaFell should be catching. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think this is Olsen's week.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that. My opponent has Aaron Rodgers, Julio Jones, Roddy White. I don't like that at all.
You go ahead and throw Jamal Charles in the you don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that at all either.
But you got to love the rest.
Because he just acquired them in a trade.
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez is not going to play, so...
Brandon Myers will be his tight end.
Is that who he's
Kansas
got?
City.
Well, people love Brandon Myers. I don't know.
It is Halloween week. Maybe Michael Myers will show up.
There you go. That'll be the headline there. Oh, yeah, he has changed him out to Brandon Myers, I see. And then he's got Santana Moss, which I'm not really afraid of. Titus Young, I'm more afraid of him now.
He's hurt, though, and
he
it's against Seattle.
Oh, I see. And plus Seattle, I was like, God, they're bad. Oh, he is questionable, I see. Likely to play, limited in practice. But with the Burleson thing out, yeah. So,
and then Rod Stevens-Howling.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows which guy's going to get the ball, but against San Francisco.
I'm not. And Skelton behind the wheel, whatever.
He definitely has positioned his team with the trade that he made to have he's relying on 4 players on his team. And when he gets Aaron Hernandez back, he's actually got a really strong 5-person team. But that's his team, is 5 people.
Yes.
So you're catching him at least not having one of those guys.
And I don't know why. I meant to say this earlier, and it doesn't mean anything at all, but I just have to say it because I'm so awesome and stuff. But I just want everybody out there to know that I'm in a bunch of leagues. I don't remember, 5 or 6. And I have Percy Harvin in all but one of those leagues.
No, and you actually, in my opinion, reached for him in this league, but it has certainly turned out to not be a reach.
I did, and I'm not even a big fan. But it was my changing my mindset situation. And attached to that is the Jeremy Maclin thing, which I meant to look at his numbers, but I felt really, really good about drafting him and then trading him.
No, it's worked out good for you so far.
Now, I don't think I traded him for anything good in the Dynasty League. I'm just glad that I traded him. And
I think it was LaFell and Dixon.
Okay. Who? LaFell
and Dixon, Ed Dixon.
and yeah. Who?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who does he even play for? Yeah, you're probably right. And then I got Witten for him in the Bad Boys League. So, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy not having Macklin on my team. I feel, well, you have him, so, I mean, he's got to be at least a little bit of a headache. Has he produced a couple of weeks?
He has produced the weeks that I've actually started him.
Okay.
Other than, I think, well, the one that he got hurt, he did actually catch a touchdown that I started him. So
Right.
I haven't been terribly disappointed, but I have been more disappointed than what he was,
Gotcha.
or what I was expecting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Other than that, I don't have anything else prepared. Other things that you want to talk about, or that have, it's been a while.
No, we're just kind of getting to the meat and potatoes of the bye weeks since we last talked, and
We've got to be approaching trade deadline pretty soon too, a month or less.
yeah, it'll be coming up in a couple weeks, and I would like to. I've got I've got 4 running backs in Bad Boys, and I'd like to package up 1 or 2 to try to get something. But at the same time, right now, it's more defensive, I think, for me to keep them and trade them to people. And so I haven't. If a trade falls in my lap, I'm going to do it. But if not, I'm just going to be anti-trade, which is exactly opposite of everything I've ever done before.
Right. In Bad Boys in particular, I like my team quite a bit, especially if Denarius Moore can keep up his production. Then I'm super happy with him as my second wide receiver. Wide receiver 3, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think that's an okay place to be for a team, generally speaking. I like my running backs. I like my tight end. A lot of boys like my tight end. But beyond that, I'm not winning. So, I don't know. We'll see. Dynasty, I have no wide receivers, and that's going to kill me.
Well, you got Nick's back.
I do have Nick's back. You're right. So I've got him, and hopefully his production will come up and he won't get hurt again or anything like that. And so, yeah, I can live with that.
What do you think about trades in Dynasty? I mean, do you think we're going to be able to pull anything off before the end of the year? Or?
I can't. I don't see myself trading anything just because I don't have anything to get anything.
Okay.
I guess I would trade a tight end that nobody wants. I could trade a bunch of wide receivers that nobody wants, and I'm not going to deplete my running back situation. I just can't do that. So I'm just going to have to drop a bunch of fools.
I think in the next week or so, maybe there could be some opportunity for there'll be some teams that are like, you know what, I'm done this year. I think it'll be time to try to offer up a bunch of stuff.
So and try to take advantage of them thinking about it like a redraft league.
No, actually thinking about it from I'm going to just cash in for next year and try to accumulate draft picks and things like that, which is where I've built up a bunch of draft picks earlier this year in hopes of being able to trade them mid-season. The same way that I kind of thought I was going to do that during the draft and ended up not.
Gotcha.
So that way I can make a good push to win this year.
Well, if you're looking for Brandon LaFell or Greg Little, hit me up.
I've got a 6-rounder for you.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to unload anybody, It just doesn't seem right.
And I'll be honest, I think that half the league isn't very into it. And so I don't think that there'll be much movement.
Gotcha. We did have a lot of message board stuff going on in the weeks that we were off.
But that could have been a Phantom Menace that was directing the quitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's what the general consensus is.
Gotcha.
Because apparently the guy who was actually doing most of the typing might not even really know how to use a computer.
I see. I see. Yeah.
But he can shoot a mean possum.
Well, you know, every fat boy's got to have some skill.
Yep.
All right. Well, cool. Well, good luck this week. Enjoy the football game in person.
Yeah.
I'd say it'd be a good chance for the Chiefs to run amok on somebody, hopefully.
I'd say it's not. We are making the wise move of starting Brady Quinn,
That's right.
which is definitely not an upgrade over Matt Castle. And with this being a very big game for the loser and the higher draft pick type of situation, and Oakland messed up and won last week, we can get up 2 games on the Oakland Raiders in the loss side of things.
And you're...
So I think it's making very good sense to start Brady Quinn so he can fall on his face.
Huh. Gotcha. So you're down with the let's win the lottery kind of thing.
I am not. I want to win every single game we can, but I just don't see it as much of a possibility.
Gotcha.
I think that our quarterback situation is going to preclude us from winning much of anything.
All right, and you kind of think that maybe that's the thought process behind the team, the ownership and such, the management.
I think they really believe that they might win, but
Okay.
I think that the overall...
I mean, I just see
This is
Jamal
not-
Charles having a good game, potentially.
Yeah, oh yeah. No,
And
I mean, and I'm going to
rest-
continue to root for him to win.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm worried that, they're going to shut down Charles later in the year.
Gotcha.
As owning the running back in Dynasty. Because they're going to be out of it, and why run somebody who just came off an ACL into the ground for nothing? But we'll see.
Well, right on. Well, I hope you enjoy the company then.
Oh, it'll be fun. Always is.
Is that a nooner?
It is a 3 o'clock game.
3:05. Yeah, I see.
So gates open at 8:30.
No way.
So we'll see what goes on.
Are you gonna be there at 8:30?
Probably not quite that early, but
Okay.
not too far after.
9:30 or 10 probably. Wow. All right. Well, cool. That ought to be fun no matter what. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this is my first Sunday, and one of the main reasons that we haven't been doing the show too is I've just been crazy busy for the last 3 weeks, and I'll actually get to lounge about and watch some football this weekend. Very excited to do that. I'm a little disappointed that the second round of games there's only 2, and they're both on networks, and so my pass, my NFL ticket doesn't mean much at 3 o'clock this week. But
Darn World Series.
yeah. So. All right. Well, thanks a lot, man. Signing off here from the worst fantasy football show ever. We're rolling the credits. Your mom had a hand in this. And do. And the show's over.